Hey there, Jeff Haggerty with J3 Outdoors. Just wanted to do a quick little video to help people that deal with a freeze and thaw condition and needing to winterize your trap so they'll continue to work during all of that. We're in southern Michigan. We've been using this process I've been using this process for a number of years, and it works good. It's not bulletproof, but it works good. So let's go over that real quick. All right, when we're talking about winterizing a set, people want to know, what are you using to winterize your set with? And what I have here is, this is waxed dirt. So this is just topsoil that in the summertime we dry it, we sift it, and then we apply a flake wax to it at a high temperature of 147, 145 degrees. To get that wax melted through the dirt, and that'll essentially individually wax every bit of grain in that dirt. The other thing that you can use is you can use peat moss. I really like peat moss. You can use buckwheat hulls. You can use really anything that you want. There's just things that work better than others, right? There's nothing that's absolutely wrong. It's a personal preference. Like right now I'm using waxed dirt. I'm going back to peat moss though, but waxed dirt works just fine. It's relatively more expensive. It's heavier to lug around. It's hard to get nice and tight. Same thing with peat moss. But I don't know. I find peat moss easier. It's not as labor intensive. Dry it and sift it, and away you go. So I used it for a number of years with a lot of success. So, anyways, the other product that I use is not salt. This is calcium chloride. This is a flake calcium chloride, as you can see there. You can get it in more of a granular fashion, and you can use salt. Now, any one of those products, whether it's the calcium chloride or salt, is corrosive to your traps. So you want to make sure that your traps are good and waxed, so they don't corrode sitting in the set. Now, once you make a catch and you reset it back in there, obviously you're going to start getting some corrosion. So you got to make sure that you're going to protect and maintain your traps even at, right after the season. So that's that. The other thing when we're talking about winterized sets is you have to use something, or you generally want to use something, unless you're using peat. But if you're using like something that's sandy, right, something that can filter underneath your pan, you want to do something. You either want to use a pan cover, whether it's a screen, wax paper, coffee filter, whatever, or what I've switched to and have been using for the last couple of years are these underalls. Because it's a winterized set, I'm not worried about them getting wet and freezing or anything like that. They simply go under my pan, they fill that void, and really that's what I'm using for that. So those are really the three keys, in my opinion, to a winterized set. Now let's get to making one. So here we're simply just going to make a dirt hole set. This process is the same regardless if it's a dirt hole or a flat set or whatever set you decide to make. All right, next thing, obviously, we got to drive our trap in, our anchor. Okay, what I like to do is I like to plug this hole that we just made. Keep any of your wax dirt or anything along those lines from sliding down. The other thing I like to do is I don't like my dirt hole perfectly round, so I'm just gonna real quickly oblong that a little bit. I like it to look a little bit more natural if I can. We've got frost, looks like the first couple inches, so there we go. Alright, here comes the actual winterizing. Now again, if you got a way that you're doing it and it's working, keep doing it. I'm simply showing how to do it for those that have never done it. So I like a deep spot in the center for my chain and all that to go. But what I do is I take this wax dirt and I simply just put it on the bottom there. What I'm trying to do is I'm creating a sandwich around my trap, right? I don't want the moisture, the frost, the freeze coming up from the bottom and grabbing, essentially freezing my jaws down. So not so much that crust on top, but the bottom. Right, so this part of my jaw, I don't want frozen down. So that's why I use that. Or that's why I use that wax dirt in the bottom. Now again, if you're using peat moss or whatever, then simply just substitute this process with peat moss. It's the same exact thing. Now here's what I like to do. This, in my opinion, is critical. Again, we're talking about freeze, thaw, rain, freeze again, snow, thaw, rain, right? So I put calcium chloride in the bed. I then get my trap set in there. I'm going to pinch it in place. Winter trapping is tough. It's one of the hardest things to do. The coyotes are generally not cooperating as well in December. See, okay, so we're really good there. So if you'll see, that underall is right under the pan. There's nothing that's going to get under there. Oop, seen a wiggle spot. Here we go. All right. What I like to do is I also put just a little poke hole at my dog. And what I do with that, if I can find one the right size, is I'll take a little stick, a twig, whatever that's local to the area, beanstalk. I'll put that at my dog. That helps from, I mean, that's kind of a guide, but it also tells me where my pan is, right? Because I know where the dog is. So now I'm going to take some more calcium chloride. I'm going to sprinkle it where that jaw is, right? I'm not worried about filling the center of the trap. I'm just wanting to go around the jaws and where the levers are, get it good and coated. Now I take more wax dirt. And I start working that in the bed. So now I've got essentially a sandwich trap right? My trap is now sandwiched. I've got calcium chloride, wax dirt on the bottom, calcium chloride, wax dirt on top. Now, believe it or not, I take a little bit more calcium chloride, just a light amount, and then I blend my trap bed, even in these freezing thawing conditions. All right, so then I use that, put some clumps, put some corn cobs, just some little stepping blockers, not going to go outrageous with it or anything, something along those lines, and that trap bed is done. Calcium chloride will blend in, it'll be gone overnight, and so you don't have to worry about covering each one up. But essentially that's it. Now we'll get to applying the bait and the lure. When it comes to bait and lure, obviously it's a personal preference. One thing I do like to do, unless it's all frost, is I like to put a hole in the back, and that hole in the back is where the gland lure will go. But I'll take, like here I'm using Soul Taker, I'll take a healthy chunk, fill the bottom of the hole with that. I'll get some grasses from there and I'll plug it. I'm out of sheep wool today. I know, for those critiquing, I'm not being super efficient, I'm moving around too much, but it is what it is. Alright, so I will get that down in there. And then what I like to do is I like to use a gland lure, in this case cryptic. Try and find the right stick here. So that's my cryptic, and I'm going to put that in that hole we made going back in. And then some Carmen's Pro Mix around the back, and we're done. That's a winterized set. That set, it will last during these freeze thaw conditions, and we're going from 45 to 12, 12 to 40, 40 to 18. I mean, it's bouncing all over. So that's it. Alright, well, hopefully this little quick tip will help you out if you've never winterized a trap set before. Those are the basics. Again, it's not gospel. You don't have to do everything perfectly like that. There's other ways people do things. Not trying to debate that. Just trying to show you a way that will winterize your set and keep that set working during freeze thaw conditions. So anyways, we'll see you down the line. Hopefully that helps you out, and we got another set to put in. Later.